I think for the next 10 years, you'll see a lot of family farms get out of business. There's a lot of investors coming into the big places right now, and they'll be able to keep the big farms afloat, but nobody's going to keep the family farms afloat. The family farms going to disappear.
This is the Real Food, Real People podcast.
The future of family farming is in question, and we're here today talking with Jesús Limón, who's an orchardist, one of the few remaining small family farms here in the Quincy Valley that are still producing fruit the old way, hands-on. He does a lot of the work himself here in the orchard, but he's facing a lot of pressure. And he shares with us today what some of those pressures are and what we can be thinking about and doing about the future of family farming in Washington State. I'm Dylan Honcoop, the host of the Real Food, Real People podcast. Thank you for being here, and let's go talk with Jesús Limón. Jesús.
Good morning.
Thanks for having me to your farm.
Hey, thank you for coming over. And
I've been hearing about it, and I've been wanting to see what you do out here. So first, tell us a bit about what your farm is. What do you grow?
Well, we grow apples and cherries. We're kind of heavy to Honeycrisp and other varieties. It used to be really nice to farm. Nowadays it's getting a little harder, but
yeah,
we're still in it.
So you have a lot of Honeycrisp. People know Honeycrisp from the grocery store.
Well, yeah, but it's a tough apple to grow.
Why is it tough apple to grow?
Well, it's got a lot of problems. The splits before you pick it. It bitter pits a lot. It's hard apple to grow, but once you learn, you can get the hang of it. You still don't pack a lot of apples per bin, but if you can keep it profitable, you can do it. Otherwise, a lot of people is pulling them out now. So
really?
Yep.
Because
you put into them a little too much money and you don't get enough of it back. So it's not profitable. You take them out.
Yeah. So how many acres of apples do you farm?
Right now we're farming about 190. We got some that we just grafted over to another variety. So we're probably gonna be farming this year probably around 110, 120.
And how busy does that keep you?
Oh, it keeps me busy 7 days a week.
Yeah. What kind of stuff are you doing right now? Like I see the tractor here.
Right now, since we're organic, we're tilling the weeds, because organically you can't put chemicals on the weeds or the apples. We do put some stuff, mineral oils, sulfurs, and stuff like that to keep the apples from growing fungus on them. But other than that, we kind of have to not spray a lot on them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So how did you learn all of this stuff? How did you get started in growing food?
Well, that's kind of a long story, but we'll try to keep it short. I first came to the U.S. in '74.
Okay.
And I had to spend a year in the border because I tested positive for tuberculosis. So they wouldn't let me across, but I spent a year there waiting for a treatment, and once that year went by, I was able to cross in '74. So I worked a little bit in LA in factories. $265 an hour didn't cut it for me.
Wow.
Back then. So once I turned 18, a little over 18, I asked my girlfriend if we wanted to run off the big city, and she agreed. So we came to Washington. And I've been here ever since.
Why did you choose Washington?
Well, I was on my way to Canada.
Really?
I stopped on the Wenatchee Valley and I liked it, so we stayed.
Yeah.
It was kind of a nice countryside, quiet, not a lot of problems in the city, so
Yeah.
I decided to stay in Wenatchee. My wife agreed, so we stayed. And I worked on the farms here and there for a few years. One time I got a really good chewing from the administrator on the company I worked for, so I decided that I was gonna do my own orchard. And I started saving some money. In '88, I had enough savings, I thought. I had $5,000 saved, and I got another $5,000 out of my retirement, and when I went to start my orchard. I was in '88, '92, we added on some more, and we've been adding on, and every time I had to pay Uncle some I kind of added on a little more. But I think we're stopped now.
Not growing, not getting any bigger anymore.
No, there's no you don't make any money now. There's more years that you lose money than you make money. So it's getting tough. Plus, during those years, I had four boys trying to get a girl. She never came. I got 3 grandsons, and the girl's still not here. So hopefully I get a granddaughter before I die. But I had 4 boys, and it took a little bit of money because we wanted to put them through school since we didn't get a lot of schooling. I wanted them to get an education, and between scholarships and them working a little bit and us putting a little bit of money, they were able to go to college. And I would like 1 or 2 to come to the farm and farm, but they say they make more money on what they do than what they can do in farming. So I'm kind of, I thought at the time it was a good thing to put them through school, but now it's like,
right?
What do you
have
do?
them for the farm.
Yeah.
What kinds of things do they do instead of farming?
Well, we got different, they all did different things. 1 of them, or 2 of them did business degrees. And 1 of them is electrical engineer, and another one went into computer science, which I don't know what they do, but they do programming. When people get stuck on the computer, they can't get in. They call them, and they get them unstuck. But I don't know much about it.
So going back to the 80s, learning the ways of growing fruit, what was that like? Was that hard to do?
It is if you jump like into a school. For me, it wasn't that hard because I tried to pick up as much as I could when I was farming for other people. And when I got into apple fruit company, that's when I decided that I wanted to learn how to farm the apples and try to do something out of my life. Back then, apple fruit company was kind of partners with the University of Washington, or Washington State.
Washington State University.
Yeah, and they did a lot of the farming. They teach a lot of ag on whether it's row crops or apples or whatever. So when they were coming to do their test on the company, you can't help it by learn, but learn if you want to learn.
Yeah.
But a lot of people doesn't want to. They don't want to take the time to do it. So I did, and I learned a lot on that company. Also, the owner helped us a lot to get started. And but if you're not willing to work 12 or 14 hours a day, you're never going to make it out of your paycheck, because your paycheck, when you work on for whoever, you're not going to make enough to do a business and work over there if that's all you want to do. I used to work 8 hours, 9 hours on my company that I work for, and I work until night on my own place when I started.
So you're working 2 jobs.
Yeah.
One job, one
yeah.
your own farm.
Also, but the company I work for used to rent me their equipment to do my own orchard.
Nice.
And I think they kind of cut me a good deal, because they wouldn't charge me for all the hours. They charged me sort of like a set rate. Kind of, I think they wanted to help me too. And so I did 2 jobs until it was kind of tough to do both. In the beginning, since I started, I bought a little 10-acre block with sagebrush and everything. We cleaned it and we planted, and away we went to do our own little orchard. But then in
Orchard
92,
out of nothing, just
out of nothing, just bare ground.
Yeah.
And in 92, I was able to add on a government program where they lend you money at a low interest rate.
Yep.
So we added on another 30 acres, and after that, we kind of added little piece at a time, another 30 here, another 60 there. But most of it, like this block, since we didn't have a lot of money, we planted the roots, and then we grafted them in place. So it's a lot of work, but if you're willing to do the work, you can get ahead still right now. But it's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy.
So yeah, the word is you have to work really hard to get ahead at this. What drove you to do it? Why do you have such a passion for it?
Well, I grew up orphan, and when I got to the U.S., I saw an opportunity that I didn't see anywhere else, that if you put out the effort, you would get somewhere. But if you kind of just wanted to follow the crowd and do the minimum for the most money you can, that's all you're going to do all your life. You're never going to get anywhere. I don't believe that you need a college degree to get ahead in life if you're willing to do it. When I first started farming, my deal was that there's no room for failure. You either succeed or you succeed. There's like, for me, it wasn't like I was willing not to do something to get ahead. I was going to get ahead no matter what.
No matter what. So you were an orphan in Mexico.
Yeah.
What was that like?
Well, it was kind of tough over there because there was no social programs over there at the time. So at a young age, I had to stop school and work.
Yeah.
I had 4 more little brothers that needed to eat along with me. I was the oldest.
You were the oldest.
So
how old were you when you had to start just working to feed the family?
Yeah, I don't remember. That was in 69, probably around 10, 12, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Yeah, but I don't feel bad about it, because starting work at that time made me what I am today. I hear that a lot of kids nowadays here in the U.S., if they have a broken home, they go into drugs, into different things. But that's a choice you make.
Yeah.
I choose to do something else, and our family was able to go to college, get an education. We're probably not as successful as we should be, but I think we done pretty decent.
I'd say so. Coming from that background of having to leave school at a young age. In what part of Mexico are you from?
The central part of Guadalajara, outskirts of Guadalajara, a little farm out on the outskirts. 27 kilometers from Guadalajara. So
and there you were, young kid, having to work to feed your family, to being able to come here and have your own orchard and put your kids through college. That's pretty impressive.
To me, it's just another day of life, because when you learn how to work and looking at life like failure is not something you're going to go through. There's nothing, when you're way down on the bottom, there's nothing but up.
Yeah.
So that's the way I looked at life at that time. Right now it's a little different. I'm at an age that I probably should be retired, but it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
So I'm here working.
You'd rather work than retire.
Yeah. It's probably nice to retire, and what are you gonna do if you're retired?
Yeah.
Go to, I don't know, a clubhouse and play with the rest of the old men, wait to die.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna work until my legs fall off.
Just a quick pause to thank some of our sponsors making these important conversations possible. Washington Red Raspberries has been so supportive of what we do. CHS Northwest is supporting these conversations, the Real Food, Real People podcast. Also should mention Dairy Farmers of Washington. They have been a big supporter since the very beginning of this podcast. Save Family Farming as well. I want to thank all of those folks for making this go. And you know, the future of family farming is in the balance. These stories we feel are more important than ever, and we appreciate these companies and these people who recognize the value of sharing those stories with the world. Let's get back now to our conversation with Jesús Limón here in Quincy, Washington. What is it like in farming and in orcharding right now? It's getting harder.
Well, for whatever reason, the retailers, and not only the retailers, but also a lot of government agencies are putting a lot of restrictions on us. I started bringing H2A workers 11 years ago. For 11 years, the government has said that we're gonna raise the wage for those guys $1 an hour per year. But the price of what we grow doesn't go up. It stays the same. So all what used to be profit is eaten today by the wage increases every year. This year it increased $1.28 an hour. And that doesn't include the overtime. For the last 3 years, we lost probably 20 to 30 cents a pound on the cherries because of weather problems and market problems last year with California harvesting their cherries together with Washington.
Yep.
So the price fell off the bottom. And this year, in January, we had a big freeze. There's a lot of farmers that don't have any cherries. We got a few, so we might break even, maybe make a little bit of money if the prices come up.
Yeah.
The apple deal also this year, it fell off the bottom, the price on the apples too.
So you said you get H-2A, those are guest workers.
Guest workers from outside the country.
Where do they come from?
Most of ours come from Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But you get applications, I can show you on my phone, people that wants to come from Africa, from Brazil, different countries.
Wow. So why do you have to hire those people?
Because there's nobody that wants to work in the U.S. anymore. Our government has educated the kids and a lot of the people that they got more rights than the guys that produce the food and probably factories, because we at LNI, the Ag Department, food safety, I think the other day I was heading on, and we got 9 to 10 agencies today that come and tell our guys how many rights they got, and we can say nothing to them because they can go and they'll be in LNI or somebody else that we're abusing them, and they can come and sue us. But
is that happening?
Not to us, but there are some companies that did happen. The worst I had is when we're harvesting apples, sometimes people bruises the fruit, they don't care, they want to make money. And I come and I tell them, we can't sell this fruit that way. It's got to be handled the right way.
Right.
And I have had like a couple times people tell me, well, this is the way we work. If you don't want us working this way, we can go across the road to the neighbor and they'll hire us. So that's one of the reasons why we got H-2A. Back when I used to work for apples in the 80s, there used to be a lot of college kids coming in, making money when they were not going to school. They made enough money to, I don't know, eat or pay for part of their tuition in college.
Yep.
You don't see none of those today. We had kids from high school coming in, not today.
Yeah, some groups say there's no labor shortage and farms are just doing the H-2A program to profit on the backs of the guest workers. What do you think of that?
I would like to invite them over here to work or run a farm for a year, and then they can tell me that. Otherwise, they need to get a little education on it.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it seems to me that I'll do a tractor. We have a tractor right here. So let's say that tractor is worth $20,000. And the government says, okay, in 5 years you're going to get 50% increase on your wage. And people complain about inflation today.
Right.
Well, you get your 50% increase. Whoever produces that tractor is going to have to ask $30,000 for that tractor.
Yep.
But you're not going to be able to buy that tractor with the same 50% increase because Uncle Sam is going to take a percentage of that. So what do you call that? I call it inflation, devaluation on money. And that's what they're doing with the wage increases every year. Pretty soon people is not going to be able to have any money on their pocket. They're not going to be able to eat. I call them consumers because we all consume something. Politicians call them voters.
Yeah.
But they need to start paying attention and vote for the right guy because the ones we got now, they're not helping the food chain.
Yeah. So What about overtime? That's causing your
we're
labor
cutting
costs.
down to 40 hours.
Yeah.
And if we have to, we leave the parts of fruit, or on my case, fruit. If I got to leave this block because the fruit is not going to be worth what I pay in wages, I'll leave it on the tree. It's that easy.
So that happens. Fruit just doesn't get picked.
It's happened the last few years, last 3 or 4 years. You know, if you get, like last year, we left a block of cherries because the warehouse said, you know, we're gonna, right now the price is this much. It was less than what we were gonna pay to pick it. So we left it on the tree.
So what they would pay you for the fruit wouldn't even cover the cost of the harvest.
No,
So you didn't do it.
we left it on the tree.
How much more is that going to keep happening?
I think for the next 10 years, you'll see a lot of family farms get out of business. There's a lot of investors coming into the big places right now, and they'll be able to keep the big farms afloat, but nobody's going to keep the family farms afloat. The family farms going to disappear.
Is that already happening? What are you hearing from other family farms?
Back when I started, there was a lot of farmers that had their 5 or 10 acre block, and they were able to maybe not live off of it, but make a little bit off of it. Today, there's none of those. I'm considered the family farm today
Yeah.
with almost 200 acres.
Yeah.
And there's years where we make enough to live on, some years we don't.
So just people have to keep getting bigger and bigger.
Up to now, from here on out, even the big guys are feeling the crunch because of the management structure that they got.
Yeah.
Because they're hiring the guys with college degrees to run their orchards, and those guys are not going to work for $20 an hour. They want a decent salary. So they're going to feel the crunch.
Yeah.
They're feeling it just as much as we are now.
Yeah.
Although with the investors, they might survive longer than us.
But just because they have investors, and then it's a corporate farm. It's not a family farm. So you're one of the last ones.
I'm kind of one of the last ones. But if push comes to shove, I don't want to ever file for bankruptcy. But if I have to, I will. I can go live in another country for what I would get out of my Social Security. I don't want to do it, but I might have to.
What would you say to people who don't know about farming and what's going on? People who eat food, people who go to the grocery store and buy your apples and cherries, what should they know?
You know, I'm not sure if people knows where food comes from. But 10 years ago, there was a reunion on my house on Christmas, and there was a couple kids that were 12 years old, close to getting to junior high. And I asked them, I said, you know what milk comes from? Just out of the blue.
Yep.
You know what their answer was? Walmart.
The store. Yep.
So a lot of people in the big cities, they don't know that a lot of this food comes from farms. And these huge corporations, whatever the chain store is on your town, is buying from us. Only they're dictating how much they pay us. And the regulations they're gonna impose on you to produce that fruit, so they can put on the ads that they're selling this fruit that is really clean and this and that. When they started the food safety, I didn't like it because it's costing us about $40,000 today to produce the paperwork, that they want to be able to say on their ads that this food is really clean. We get a agency that comes and does an audit on everything we do a year, and they say, okay, this food qualifies as clean fruit.
But it's just a lot of paperwork.
Well, the paperwork, you got to keep records on everything you do on the farm for the year. And I can do it because I'm over here working and looking at stuff it needs to be done. So we got to hire a different person to do it. And that person does not work for free.
Yeah, for sure.
And we're not doing a lot of different stuff to the fruit. We're doing almost the same thing, only we're producing paperwork on anything we do.
Yep.
That's the only difference.
Yep.
Yesterday I received an email from my warehouse saying that in 2025, the crop of 2025, their big customers, that they want an IPM program instated, or otherwise they may not buy our fruit. They call that integrated pest management.
Right. Even though you've been doing the same thing, you have clean fruit and good fruit.
But now we got to produce paperwork for that. And all of this cost, it increases on our side, and they dictate how much they pay us. I think right now the average box of apples those guys are buying is $20, $25 maybe. But if I go to the store to buy apples, I see the price at $2.99 or $3 and change a pound. That gives them like 5 times profit.
Wow. That's how much the
Because
markup is.
a box of apples is 40-pound box. So if they sell 40 pounds for $3, how much is that? $120. And they're paying $20 a box. And who's getting the short end of the stick? The farmer. Because we don't get to dictate how much we want for those apples.
Yeah.
We harvest the apples, we send them to the warehouse, they store them, they sell them.
Yeah.
They get their cost out of it, and they send us whatever's left.
So you can't say, well, my costs have gone up, my
No.
labor costs more because minimum wage is up,
Or overtime or whatever.
overtime, all these things.
No.
And then say, so sorry, it's going to be $30 or $40.
No, we don't
can't-
get to say that.
What happens if you do? They just say, sorry?
They say, well, we'll go to this guy, he'll sell it for this much.
Crazy.
So it's, what do? We're the only ones that can set up a price. The factory for the tractors can, the factory for the cars can, but we can't.
Yeah.
We just farm and we let them give us what they want to give us.
So what should people do? What can people do who care about this, who want to see family farms like yours stay producing food?
Well, we would like our government to regulate the stores too, or let us set up a price on our stuff. But the only way we can set up a price is selling on, farmers markets, putting a fruit stand. But you're only selling, a really small percentage of what you produce. To sell on farmers markets or fruit stand, you gotta have maybe 4 or 5 acres, 10 acres or less of different fruits, so you can sell it there.
Most people don't get their food from farmers markets.
No.
They go to the grocery store.
Well, they go to Safeway or Albertsons or Costco or Walmart. So that's, we're at the mercy of those guys. They do pretty much whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
I think we see the consumer as the guys that can do something about it. Because our politicians call them the voters.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that put them in office.
Yeah.
And to me, For the last 10 years, we've been paying an average of $1 an hour more a year. And this year we gotta pay overtime if we work people over 40 hours. There's no money to do that. We'll just leave some work not done, not pick some of the fruit, and just harvest whatever we think is gonna bring us a little bit of money to eat or survive, or farm until we can't anymore and hang it up.
So people need to be aware of the decisions that the government makes and people in Olympia make that put more cost and pressure on farms like yours.
Well, it's not pressure, it's just, I don't want to say that somebody's out there to get rid of all the family farms, but it sure looks that way. I know the consumers can maybe put a little bit of pressure on the government to either set up a different price for us. I don't know, just...
Well, when it comes to decisions, though, like the wage rate for H-2A, the government continues to push that up, or overtime. Maybe we need to think about it.
The Department of Labor dictates that.
Yeah.
They say, oh, this year you're going to pay this much.
Yeah.
And they don't care whether you make money or not.
Yeah.
Our legislation in Olympia says we got to pay. Today, for me, the H-2A this year is making 25 or 30 cents an hour, whatever that is. If we pay overtime, that increases almost $10 an hour.
Yep.
And we're losing money on what we produce. So how do you pay $10 more an hour?
You don't?
You can't.
What do your workers say about it? Are they frustrated?
Well, they want to work, and they want to work at the same rate as we're paying them.
Right.
But if we work them, the government will come and say, hey, you owe that guy $10 an hour more for, I don't know, 100 hours, whatever they worked.
Right.
And where are we going to get that money?
Yeah. It's scary to think about what the future might be, and family farms going away because of all of these pressures.
Once the family farms go away, people is not going to be able to buy food, because we kind of keep a balance on price.
Yep.
For every person that supports family farming, there's another person that says we're rich and we're making all kinds of money. So it's going to take, I don't feel it should be that way, but it's going to take people going hungry or not seeing some of the food in the stores for them to recognize that we're needed.
Yeah. It's a scary thought. Well, that's why we're here, to get your voice and have people hear the truth about what's going on. So I want to thank you for having me here to your farm.
Thanks for coming and showing what we do and what we're going through. Hopefully there's somebody out there that'll listen to it and tries to do something about it.
Yeah.
Because we sure want people to keep eating.
Absolutely. And we want family farming like yours, where you have that connection to the land to continue. So
I'll farm until my legs fall off.
Well, thank you.
Or the money goes away that I can't live anymore, then I'll probably give it up. But,
well, good luck to you.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for what you do, growing
Thanks for
food
coming
for us
over
to eat.
And kind of showing everybody what we do and why we do it for.
This is the Real Food, Real People podcast. These are the stories of the people who grow your food.